Well, this is Ben Baird.
Yeah,
We're talking to Ben Baird, by the
Yes.
way, and senior Ben Baird, who is into a lot of things. So this Instagram page, like, go on. So what? So you just like pictures. When did that start? What's the history?
I started photography probably like 4 years ago, and I started in film. So I dug out my dad's old Nikon FG20. It's like a intermediate beginner film camera from 1986, I think. And I started that, and it got me like into the fundamentals and stuff. So, and then once I got a job, I could buy a nice DSLR. So, did that.
For those of us who don't know, what's a DSLR?
It's like a digital camera, like a big, nice, like
great zoom, great, like perfect, like excellent quality, high pixels. I don't even know if I'm talking the language or not.
You can interchange the lenses, so there's like the body of the camera and then there's a lens, and it's like always you can interchange everything basically once it's brand oriented or whatever.
Where do you?
Expensive.
Yeah, I was gonna say, where do you buy the equipment? Just online?
Online, yeah, online. There's camera shops around here.
What draws you to photography? Like, why do you like taking pictures? And I mean, that's what I'm curious about.
Yeah, taking pictures I think is like one of the only ways to express something in the shortest amount of time possible. So like you can understand a whole story by looking at an image.
What do you think form of art takes the longest time to express something? Or is that
a book, probably.
So the senior photography thing, I know you're taking senior pictures. What's that like? Is it a successful business?
Yeah, it's getting there. It's getting there. I still have lots of boundaries I have to overcome, but yeah, it's getting there.
What are the boundaries? I mean, do you know how to, you're really running a business, like you're charging people for them? So tell me about the boundaries of running a business.
Yeah, so there's so many things involved in like making a business, and once you get past the fact that you're a high schooler and like it's not just like a thing that you can just like do. You can't just like charge people for taking pictures. There's so many things involved in it, like things with age. So for example, like there's a law where they can press charges against you if the person makes up a story, and you would be completely helpless if you were over 18 and you were with someone that was a minor and they didn't have a parent with them, then they could press charges if they made up something, and you would be completely helpless.
Yeah, there's not a lot to cover you.
Yeah, there's like waivers that you have to sign, and yeah, there's a lot of precautions, I would say.
It's smart that you're thinking about that. So you're 18?
No.
Not yet?
I'm not 18, yeah. So.
But will be or something like that. And then, so I don't even know that everybody would like think about that. So did you have parents who helped you guide you, or did you use like a startup kit, or like how did you find that,
Yeah, internet. A lot of internet, and I know a couple people at a store in Muskegon. It's called the Camera Shop, and I know a guy, his name is Justin, and he helps me through a lot of that stuff. Like, we're friends, so.
You started this when you were 13?
Photography?
Like, yeah.
I started, like 4 years ago around, so.
Yeah. So tell me, are you a better photographer now than you were 4 years ago?
Oh, yes.
What makes that, that's what I wanted you to say. What makes you better? Like, what do you have, how do you know you're better?
I think in a technical aspect, the skill of like a photographer, it depends on their sense of light. Okay, so light is a big thing in photography, and especially in the film photography, like you don't have anything to look at. There's no auto, shutter time. There's no auto aperture. Everything is manual. So I think starting with film helped give me a huge benefit in understanding light.
Do you think it's in your future, photography?
No, not mainly. I mean, I'd love to, have a business, a side business, but yeah, it's not my career goal. My goal is to lead worship at a church.
Yeah, cool. So
professionally, so.
And I mean, excuse my naivete, but you could do that. I mean, that could make a living, like a good living.
Yes, a lot of controversy and like the money and stuff.
Well, what do you mean controversy and money?
Like a lot of people are like, oh, you're going to work for a church. Are you even going to be paid for that?
But you will be.
But I will be.
Yeah.
I lead worship at All Shores Wesleyan in Spring Lake. Mm-hmm. And I also lead for the youth group. It's called Warehouse, which, I invite anybody to go to.
Can you talk about the value of the church for you? Like, where is that a new thing or an old thing? Is that a thing from parents?
Yeah, I didn't grow up in the church. My parents weren't religious. I think on their military dog tags, they put Catholic, I think, but that was because their parents were. But they never installed anything like that in my childhood. So when I started getting involved in the church, my friend Reese Carlin, his family was really into that, so they knew. So at the time, this was like, I don't know, 8 years ago. I played bass, and that was my first instrument. So they were like, "Hey, you play bass? There are these auditions for the worship team for the Warehouse," and like I was in 5th grade or 7th grade or whatever, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, so cool!" So I did that, and then eventually I switched to drums, and then I learned how to play guitar, and then I started singing, and here I am. So
what is it about the church atmosphere? So you could do this, you could sing, play guitar, play the drums for, presumably anyone, anywhere. What is it about the church that draws you so much?
I think community has a big part of it, because I know like everyone in the staff in the whole church, just because I've been going there for so long, and like there's a sense of community, I think, that is second to none between any job career, any job type.
Did you ever have like one of those religious epiphanies where because you said that you didn't grow up in the church, so were you ever like, oh, you felt the presence of God, or I'm not religious myself, so I don't know how to say it appropriately, but did you ever really feel like connected to the church, which then made you want to do that as a career?
Oh yeah, there was so the church holds these camps. It's called Ignite Camp, and it's a week long, and it's every summer. Years ago, I think it was maybe half a year after I started playing drums at the Warehouse at the youth group, and yeah, that's when after that camp I got home, and I was like pretty set on what I wanted to do the rest of my life. It was like sessions every day or whatever. And they're really powerful, and it's like it's unexplainable, I think, like the amount of like, I don't know, it's hard to explain. It's like a sensation, kind of.
Is that God?
Yeah, that's God.
Yeah.
That's kind of beautiful.
It's really beautiful.
Yeah, it is. It's wonderful.
Who's inspiring you to keep on this path of both your faith and your music in faith? And
yeah, my kind of mentor throughout my whole, faith, his name is Evan Costers, and he leads the worship I do now, but he used to. He really inspired me, I think, to do what he does.
do you mind getting your guitar out?
Yeah, I could.
Yeah, let's
sure.
let's do a little something.
All right.
So from this podcast on,
Oh yeah.
we're only going to use Ben's music.
The music will be shifting.
The music will be
better.
shifting.
A lot better.
To a lot better and more interesting and from
And
a
local.
student and,
Yeah.
and local.
I'll play Down in the Valley.
I'm okay
Because
with
why
that.
not?
What is
It's
this is
the-
one of the
Head
head in the
Head
heart.
in the Heart.
Yes.
Of course it
So
is. Okay.
Down in the Valley. So. I wish I was a slave to an age-old train, like riding around on rail cars and working long days. Lord have mercy on the rough and rowdy ways. Lord have mercy on the rough and rowdy Call it one drink too many, call it pride of a man. And it don't make no difference if you sit or you stand. 'Cause they both end in trouble and start with a grin. 'Cause they both end in trouble and start with a grin. We do it over and over and over again. We do it over and over and over again.
That was great.
Yeah, that's
man.
good then.
That was
We can like
awesome.
fade that out maybe.
Yeah,
Possibly.
we'll
There's more to the
Elise
song.
has got the magic going on with that. We'll make sure it ends the right way.
Yeah.
It's all good. Thanks,
Good.
Ben.
Thanks for listening to this episode of The Share Chair with our guest Ben Baird. Stay tuned next week for more.